What's up, legends, and welcome back to 30 Days of Bible Lettering, the challenge where I draw 30 days, a verse every single day, and I've been streaming these live every single day for the entire month. Now, we're coming to a close. This is day 30, and the last verse is out of Romans chapter 15, verse 13, which says, "May the God of hope fill you with joy and peace." What a great verse to end on, and also to end on this challenge. It's been actually a very interesting way to experience this challenge than I have done before. So not only is drawing something every single day for 30 days straight really challenging in itself, but it also really rewarding, where you learn a lot of new things, where you try out different things, where you fail, but you always show up. And that's the goal here. That's the mission that we always do in these challenges, is to show up every single day. So without further ado, let's jump over into today's lettering, which is going to be on the iPad. You can also hit the subscribe button, or the like button actually here, or subscribe to the channel by going down to the link or somewhere in the video. I don't know where you're watching this, so that depends really on you. So I'm going to be using the iPad here. I've created a grid and sketched it out beforehand. So here is my sketch, so you guys can have a little idea, a little glimpse of what it could look like towards the end. And I'm gonna be hiding this one here all the way pretty much to the max, and starting with the very first revised sketch. So I'm taking here my flat marker brushes and starting in, maybe reducing the size a tiny little bit, and just going in and drawing out all of these lines, trying to get the same thickness all over. This is always the consistency challenge that you create, and that's something that you learn during a challenge as well, is to get more and more consistent and creative and all of these things, which is awesome to do. So here, may, and then we have the, but since I'm already here at the very end of the spectrum, I am going to rotate, turn off that magnetic and snapping here, just so I have a little bit more room to breathe. And I can even get out a tiny little bit more. So just like that. That's good. Somehow it's not unclicking, which I don't know what is happening here. It doesn't happen sometimes. So the best way is to actually just relaunch the app. So get out, relaunch the app, get it all back in. And as we do this, here going in, everything is back to where it's supposed to be. So here, going in for the next letter, trying to draw out the T of the, and getting all of these together here. Perfect. So again, this is not the final design, which it could well be, but we're just putting it all here. So this is kind of what was missing. I need to shift that around a tiny little bit, just like that. Now, this time it worked, perfect. And here, the goal is to really place the letters where you want them to be. And actually, I want this here to be rounded off really well, kind of creating these beautiful cuts in between. And then even down here, which will look great. And then finally moving this whole piece again. So there's a lot of moving around, which is really fun to do when you're drawing on the iPad, and also helpful to do. And here, I'm just trying to mimic something. And maybe get that. Well, maybe not. Let's leave it at this here. So perhaps I'm going to make this a tiny little bit smaller. So adjusting as you go, also a very important part of the lettering part. And now I'm also trying to add the thickness of the letters that I want to have in this lettering. Just like that. And so it's going to be more of a bottom top styled thickness on these letters. Here can add a connection to the D And then finally here, connecting all of these. And so I might have to think of something that could either come up here, like a holy shine, maybe not. But going in here with the O and the F, so keeping it low key, and then starting off with the P actually, of hope. So this letter is going to be a lot thicker than anything else. And then the E. And what I love about these brushes here is really the texture. The texture of this paint, the wet marker, I call it. It's one of the brushes that you can find in my shop. So if you're interested in getting anything like for your iPad, like the brushes, it's a brush that I often like to use in my drawings just because of the streaks that it creates, the texture that it creates. I absolutely love it. And I love how it turns out all the time. And so usually it will create or give me a really nice finish on my lettering. So right now this doesn't seem to be very centered. So I'm gonna work on that soon. But first off, here, the fill. So this is an F that I've kind of started to do more in this challenge. I think there have been a lot of Fs somehow. And here I'm gonna actually go a little bit lower. Take the whole lettering again, just a tiny bit higher as well. So there's kind of a interesting part here where kind of these connect, but they don't really connect. And the one thing that is kind of like hard now to do is the Y, and to get like the fill you width, to add the width in here. But first, let us focus on the joy. Like that, yeah. And then finally the piece, so starting with the A. And another E here. And the P, so trying to end with the same distance. Just like that. So we have kind of like a symmetry going on with the top and the bottom, so made the, and then piece here as well. We have some nice elements in here, which is also something that we could do to really connect these top and bottom here. And so now trying to find out the way to not forget the width, but also not to bother too much right now by trying to get it too well. Probably going to try out a different version of the word God here in the styles. So I'm going to cut that out, cut and place that into a new layer. And then I'm just going to try out a different version here. So because there's definitely that space on top and it's using a lot of space otherwise too, so I want to make sure that I can really make the most out of these here. So now it actually starts to make more sense with the space. So when you zoom out, you pretty much see that the space is used up a little bit nicer. And somehow there's this, I have this desire to kind of like mix it all together, but I kind of want to keep it fresh and simple. So that is the first part. So now let's see how we can introduce the width here with the rest of the lettering. So right now that looks a lot better. I'm gonna keep this one in here, gonna place it back, merge it down, and let's see how we are going to fit in the width. So either you just place it all further down, that's one way to do it. If I just letter on top of it, the Y would be a little bit lost. So not necessarily a great option. Well, let's take the whole thing and move it up a little bit. So back to the snapping here. So I kind of want to keep it centered. And I want to move here this element lower, just to make space for so here I want to keep the Y, but also either connect it on top, which that probably looks cool enough. So yeah, that looks good. Here, I'm just gonna pay more attention to those details here. And then here from these grids, I'm going to place down the width. So it has the same size than the hope. And we'll still be able to fill something in here as well. But for now, that will be the design. And then probably something I would love to try out as well is to then give the whole thing a touch up. So now we have the design. This is the final design. So I'm going to hide the first layer mask, and now we can really finalize the design. So here, this is where I want to even go lower with the paintbrush and really start to draw in all of it and try to stick as much as possible to the outline of the grid. So the more you are on these grids, the more it will look refined and balanced. And so I'm still doing some small adjustments here and there. So for example, I'm going to erase some of it here, maybe even some of it there. I want to have that nice streak looking lines here. So this whole letter looks a little bit squished to one side, so if I go into freeform, I can move that around and adjust a tiny bit, not too much. And then also get this one here closer to the A, just to account for that spacing really well. And you see, one thing I love is kind of like the little part here. So if you zoom in, you can see kind of like how this is imperfect. And so I want to have more of that in my letters. And you get that by actually not pressing down entirely, just pressing down enough to fill out the space. And so that's what's going to give you kind of like these nice streaks in the end of your lettering, which is also nice. All right, made the, and then you're probably gonna erase a little bit. Keep those lines nice, yeah, that's good. And then I can really So again, the whole goal here is really to capture those lines really well. And then even eventually get some nice lines in between here. Now we have some problems with the Apple Pencil somehow. But those nice long streaks, those really make out those letters really well. Right now I'm not going into the off, just going first onto the hope. So this P definitely could get a little bit in closer here towards the center. So the distance between the H, the P, here the E as well. that's, yeah, maybe just increasing that thickness here a tiny bit, as well as here, and maybe there as well. So now the hope looks really good. Maybe we do have to then increase a little bit the thickness of the God, but first we will continue on with the rest. So I'm gonna start off with the Y here, because that's kind of, I feel like I have a good sense for the U first. And when you have like one part of the lettering done, cool thing really is that you can keep on and easily copy the style you just did before. Like that looks good. I'm gonna try to find the same style here on the other side. right, with joy. And then finally, the last one here, peace. There we go. So may the God of hope, and I might actually go and hide this one here, but first let me add this one. Here I might want to really see the gap in between. Something around here would also be nice. And again, yeah, this here might just erase that and then replace that here. Add the off inside. And there we go. So that would be, may the God of hope fill you with joy. Oh, and that's where we missed a word. Ha! So we need to implement another word. And so what do we do here? So one way I could see it working actually is to take this one here, place it outside here, and then go inside here, draw in an and. So again, just making sure that those lines here at the bottom, top, are nice. And have the same length. Like that. Then we can cut that out. Can move it around. So first, I'll place it here. Magnetic. Snap it and take it out there. Out for a spin, and this is where it starts to freeze again. No. So there's no undo as well, unfortunately. So again, have to quit it, have to get back into it, open it all up. Thankfully, it's all here. So not want to take too much here, but just enough. Basically, it's just a tiny bit around here. Perfect. And then, like, I'm going to hide the whole background, also the sketch. And now I can probably try and see what happens if I pick this whole thing up here. Turn on magnetic. Oh, that kind of looks cool. So even though we forgot a word. This is where it actually doesn't work anymore. Perfect. Let's open it up again. Technology. At some point, it will work. Like that. Close. Like very close would be this, and it kind of works too. And even maybe we can take the whole thing here, place it a tiny bit higher up, and take the rest and actually place it lower down. Like that. Yeah, it works. And so now, finally, once you have like a beautiful composition, just like this one here now, I feel like this is a really nice composition, turned out really well. It's always nice to add some decorative elements. So going in with a new layer, I'm actually going in here, and then I'm going to the canvas, and then setting up a symmetry line, which should be dead at the center, if I'm not mistaken. And then I will turn on the assisted mode, which is already on. Get like a different color, maybe like not a red, green, not a purple, maybe this here. And then again, okay, it's not at the center. Is it though? No, it's not really at the center. Maybe the whole thing here needs to move towards the center, kind of like here. Probably around here. Actually, the A was really at the dead center here, so that should be the center of this piece. So let's go back here, clear it up. And let's add some petals. This is something that I always love to add in, petals. something that I haven't tried yet is to actually make those petals come all behind and then kind of like darken where it's not in. And so we'll try that actually. So I'm actually going to hide now this layer. I'm gonna duplicate that actually. And then like turn this off. So clear out everything in here. And this one here will be a little bit hidden. And so I want to have some beautiful petals coming out right from the center here, really. And then I'll play with some colors as well. And you have to actually start from the outside and then go inwards. Let's do that. And maybe, let's see, edit drawing guide, symmetry, options. Let's do a quadrant through the middle. Done. Let's clear that up again. So that is a cool thing, really, is that you will start creating these different shapes all around. And you might be wondering, like, what am I doing? Like this is going straight over the image, and yes, it is. And so I'm trying out something new. So this is always the goal, is to always play around with something new that you haven't tried before, that you feel like, hey, you know what? This has some potential. This could be something. And now switching over the colors. And so since it's all petals, and then maybe we can go even darker here, some petals with a darker color. And so I think now's the time to turn off the assisted drawing, so we can just draw out some patterns in between. Just to break off the whole pattern style. This might be a whole lot too much as well. I don't know. We'll see about that. But this whole inside here would be gray anyway. So I'm not gonna spend too much time on these here. And then just gonna switch out some colors here as well. And so now the moment of truth, let's put this behind, turn on this. And of course now you can barely see anything. You could play around with like some petals going in between. But my idea was to add like a new layer, get it all like the background color. And then with a soft brush to like kind of interpose that and really let it come forth from there. So that kind of looks cool. Kind of like that. And just to break it off a little bit again, so it's always nice to have these elements, but now you can just pick up that brush again and then just add some more petals. Just a smaller one here. Brush around. There still is some layer between here. And some bright spots, which will look really nice in between. Again, switching up the colors. And then finally some nice bright dots that are not too colorful, but here and there, I feel like that could also really break it off. Here we go. May the God of hope fill you with joy and peace. And that's it. There we go. Final part done. And hope that you've enjoyed this video here again. This is the final one out of this 30 days of Bible lettering series, 30 days, consecutive days, creating one piece every single day. I hope that you've enjoyed this series and that you are, well, inspired and trying to do your own challenge. What I've learned from this challenge, I will post a video about that probably very soon, and sharing about like what it is to do a 30-day challenge, going through like what are the benefits of doing these challenges, what I've learned from this challenge as well, and all of that in another video. So until then, see you guys very soon, and hope to see you in another video. All right, have a fantastic day. Bye-bye.